Travis Wayne Goodsell. Some dumbass was heard setting off a firework. Dear God. On a day with a heat warning. As the governor has punished us for the government's failure to have a reserve of water, or at least dip in to the rainy day fund. Oh, but Travis, it's not raining. That's the whole problem. Of $1 billion plus. This was back in the 2018 midterms when my newly elected congressman here in Utah sent me a letter to do a survey of what I would like to see done with the $1 billion. They don't do anything with it. But there are patterns in the Book of Mormon. Smooth transition. And yeah, I'm going to smooth it out for you. One of those patterns is an Exodus pattern. We're in the Exodus. We're just waiting for the breaking point. Because we're getting the heavy burdens with the torture from the heat and the drought. We've got pandemic still in operation. Virus cases are going up because everybody thinks that it's over. And and the church is behind all of it. They actually paid Russia, for which Russia used that money to attack America. Deal was made so that the church can have Utah as their kingdom. Devil never supports his own, guys. One of you will betray the other, and one of you does not have weapons at their disposal. In this Exodus pattern, we see the repetition of an Exodus. That's a pattern. As people have to flee and settle a new promised land over and over and over and over again. It's understood that Lehi had to flee, or his ancestors at least, had to flee Assyria when Assyrian deportation came in on northern Israel. And then Lehi is told in his dream that it's 2017, it's time for an exodus. We're supposed to have it built, guys. Zion was supposed to be built. You didn't have it built. You trusted in a false prophet rather than trusting in scriptures. Exmo Licks did a video yesterday or the day before about that, the conflict that Mormons have as to whether they follow the Lord or do they follow the prophet. And of course the prophets follow us, obedience to us, that's your covenants. And yet we're also supposed to follow the Lord. And when they come in conflict, it's always mortal men in charge of the church rather than God. That takes precedence. And she referred to the 14 fundamentals of a true prophet by Benson, which is just nonsense. I mean, seriously, you dismiss the scriptures, you dismiss the words of God. No, that's ridiculous. I mean, even dismissing Joseph Smith, the founder of our religion. You know, the Book of Mormon is the keystone. Nope, Living Prophet trumps the Book of Mormon now. It's sad. But, yeah, Lehi goes to the top of the Red Sea. Then, when he accomplishes the work that he was supposed to do, get the brass plates, which is the second pattern, is record keeping. And history of the people is also in this pattern. Not as frequent as the Exodus, because records are a dual demonstration. Those who don't have records with them versus those who do get the records of the people with them. And you see that with the Jaredites, not the Jaredites, the Mulekites, who settled Zarahemla. And they came from Jerusalem just like the Lehites did, but they didn't have the records with them because Babylon took them all. And that's important to understand. I mean, yeah, there's the one minor prophet after they return to Jerusalem who claims that he finds the book in the temple. But that's after it's built. Or actually it's before. Yeah, I think it's Hezekiah. That would be before Babylon. So no, the scriptures were gone with Babylon. There was no remnant. And Hezekiah had his tunnel, which they found the archaeological evidence for the second wall that would have encapsulated his tunnel and the water supply, because they were concerned. Why is the water supply outside the wall? Oh, there's the second wall. Ta-da! That was found in the 2000s. But I don't think Mormons, well, I know they don't. I know nobody knows about the patterns of the Exodus and the need for records. I mean, it's not necessarily journal records. It's the records of the people. And the reason for that is so that you don't repeat the mistakes of the past. And so you get the records in the brass plates of the kings of Judah, so you don't repeat the mistakes of the past. You get the record of the Jaredites, so you don't repeat their mistake that they made, that Ether wrote, and then Coriantumr wrote a record as well. But that third pattern is destruction, and mixed with a Zion pattern. It's contrasted just like records are. Those who keep records, those who don't keep records, those who establish Zion, those who don't and are destroyed. And that's a third pattern that's in there, because the Exodus always involves going to a new promised land. And so Lehi gets to Bountiful, and then Nephi takes over and says, hey, we're going to another promised land across the seas. And then Nephi has to flee from Laman after Lehi dies. These patterns are supposed to inform us about what we're supposed to prepare for and do for the latter days. And that's, nobody catches on. The Exodus it's going on right now, whether it's going to be compelled upon us or whether we as a group rise up and leave. But Mormons think that they're supposed to go back to Missouri, Independence, Missouri, and it's not going to happen. Nelson says, nope, it's here with the inverted pentagram of the Illuminati Lucifer. And Joseph Smith in July 1840 said Southern Illinois was supposed to build the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem. But yeah, it was kept from Mormons, just like my videos are being kept from the majority of the audience. And so the church only wants Mormons to isolate certain scriptures along the way that emphasize doctrinal principles they want to focus on, dismissing other doctrinal principles and taking them out of the context. As for example, the manuals don't discuss what the learning of the Jews refers to. They talk about the language of the Egyptians. Oh, yeah, language of the Egyptians. And the Book of Mormon talks about it being altered over time, as if they were real. And I know I didn't say that the church is the great and abominable church predicted in the Book of Mormon, prophesied if you want to claim it. But if you're now catching on concerned, I thought this was about the Book of Mormon, Travis. You're talking against the church. Yeah, inverted pentagram of Lucifer. What do you think? It's not true. You know, all the Book of Mormon talks about how to identify the great and abominable church. It tells you who to watch for the destruction, and it even tells you the dates. So yeah, I'm tired. It's on the afternoon. The video's long enough now that you can probably see the background and see the clock time, which is 2 minutes faster than the regular time. But lazy Saturday, steaming hot. And the fans, if I didn't have these fans, oh dear God, I would have to have the computers turned off. I could not use computers. They would melt. I have to... So, yeah. It's sad because I'm living the Book of Mormon from the view of Ether and Moroni, who witnessed the entire destruction of his people. And I'm screaming out to you in all these videos, trying to get as many people's attention as I can, and only a few are there. But what do? It's just a few. And yeah, nobody can endure to the end. Mormons have given up and are just waiting for the president of the church to tell them what to do, as he's completely destroyed the church, and Mormons don't realize it. When Nelson got up and said, hey, we've made a deal with Russia, we sold out America, Mormons cheered because they did not comprehend. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That is the truth. So, yeah, they created a new god, an evangelical Mormon hybrid, and Mormons don't see it. I mean, yeah, I didn't see it. It was not until I learned about the Messiah of the Jews that I went, wait a minute, that is ours. Our temple, we are made Christ's. That's why we take upon ourselves the name of Christ. Because it never made sense to me before. Because we don't take upon the name of Christ in that definitional sense unless we become Christ. But I'm thinking, okay, I now represent Christ. I'm a part of his church. But the name of Christ? Power in the name? What? I don't understand. There is no power in names. But yeah, we become Christ. That's the power. And so yeah, Mormons not only believe we can become gods, we can become Christs. And thus why Matthew says there will be false Christs and false prophets. And the church won't let us study that. Nope, not approved curriculum. So, yeah, that's why I have a greater knowledge than Mormons. It's because Mormons are faithful and obedient and only refer to church-approved curriculum. And me, nope. I want answers. Don't tell me there is no answer and it's not essential to my eternal salvation, or that I'll have to wait until the millennium or wait until I'm dead. I want it now. I want it now. And I want it all. Well, maybe that'll be the theme song.